From mysterious campers to blood-curdling screams in the middle of the night, these are the top 6 most disturbing camping encounters caught on camera. Starting off in our number 6 spot, we have the sneaky footsteps and a shadow. This one comes from a YouTuber named Sam who decided to go stealth camping out in the woods near Cleveland. If you're not familiar with stealth camping, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's camping, but without any of the fancy equipment. Instead of a tent, you just kind of pitch a tarp over yourself. And instead of sleeping bags, you use whatever blankets or clothes you have. Basically, the idea is to make your campsite as inconspicuous and hidden away as possible. So you don't really get the full camping experience. But still, when you're doing it correctly, it can be a great way to get some time away from civilization. Sam seemed to have chosen a good spot for his hideaway, tucked away underneath some trees. However, that didn't stop him from finding something very unsettling. As soon as he got there, he found a tent that had been shredded to pieces. No idea what could have done that. There were no animals in the area that could have been big enough to do that. And he said it definitely wasn't there the day before when he had scouted the area, so that was a bit weird. But he decided to push past it and get his own tent set up and then settled in for the night. However, he only made it about an hour into his stay before the unthinkable happened. Suddenly, he heard what sounded like footsteps all around his tent. Even though he knew there was no one else in the area, he couldn't help but feel like something was out there watching him. His worst fears were realized when he saw a dark shadow pass by his tent. Startled awake, he grabbed his headlamp and shone it outside, but there was nothing there. This kept happening all throughout the night, though, and he even heard his tent collapse once. So he finally worked up the courage to crawl out of his tent and run off into the darkness. Let's just say he didn't stick around to find out what was out there. But hopefully he never did find out, because whoever or whatever was out there definitely didn't seem friendly. In our No 5 spot today, we have the dark messages. The Appalachian Trail is one of the most popular hiking trails in the entire United States. Every year, thousands of people take on the journey, making it one of the busiest trails in the country. Back in 2017, though, one hiker named Phil had the unfortunate luck to run into something terrifying. While he was solo hiking the trail, he began to notice disturbing handwritten notes left on rocks and trees. At first, he thought it was just some bored teenagers being stupid, but that quickly changed when he found a dead duck left on the trail. From there, the creepy messages just kept coming. Branches were laid across the trail like they were trying to block his path. And he even saw what looked like a freshly dug grave. But the worst part came at night when he was staying in a shelter. That's when he saw a lone figure with a headlamp circling the building over and over again. He described it as someone aimlessly walking in circles with no purpose. This man stayed in the exact same spot, staring at the door for hours on end. After this experience, Phil packed up and left. But since then, similar stories have come from other hikers. Some claim that the man may be the ghost of a person who died on the trail. Others think he's actually trying to warn people away. What do you think? In our No 4 spot today, we have the chilling shout. This next one comes from a camper who chose to remain anonymous. Like many others, he decided to venture out into the remote woods near Cleveland in Ohio to set up camp. After getting his tent and campfire going, he settled in for the night. However, about an hour into his stay, his lamp suddenly went out, plunging him into total darkness. Now, this was quite frightening, but he managed to light another one, albeit a smaller one. That was until suddenly a voice cut through the night. "I see you," it said, followed by an eerie silence. Obviously, he was terrified. He had been alone the whole time, and there was no one else for miles around. Of course, he ran. He packed up his things and tried to get out of there as fast as possible. But even now, years later, he still claims to hear the voice sometimes when he's alone. In our No 3 spot today, we have the paranormal glitches. These two campers had a pretty harrowing experience while out in the woods. The two men had set up camp for the night, but things started to get weird right away. Their food began to scatter seemingly on its own, and then they started to hear strange bangs in the forest around them. Then, when they shined their lights outside, they saw some strange white orbs floating through the trees. Later in the night, they noticed that their phone batteries were draining at an unnatural rate, so they decided to call it a night. But they agreed to keep recording. That was when the real horror began. All throughout the night, they continued to hear the strange banging sounds. And then every time their light was turned on, whatever was out there would make a move. They've since uploaded the video, claiming that they don't want to go back to that spot, believing that they may have encountered some kind of creature that doesn't want them there. Others believe that it was simply some explanation, perhaps a bear or some other large animal. But if that was the case, why were they hearing such distinct banging sounds? In our No. 2 spot today, we have the scream. This one's a little different because it's actually a compilation of videos, 6 videos to be exact, all showing similar occurrences in different places. Each video adds to the overall terror of the situation, with the final one being by far the most terrifying. The first one shows a man sitting by his campsite when suddenly he hears gunshots. He looks around, scared, and then darts off into the bushes. The second one shows a man camping out in his backyard. He and his family begin to hear whispering voices and decide to pack up and leave. The third shows a family sitting by their campfire when suddenly a cloaked figure appears and runs past them. The fourth shows a man looking around his campsite after hearing a noise, but he finds nothing. The fifth shows a man running through the forest with something chasing him. You can hear him screaming, get away, but whatever is out there won't let up. And the sixth and final one is probably the most disturbing of all. A girl and her family are standing outside their car when a cloaked figure appears from behind some trees and starts running toward them. She screams, which causes the figure to stop and then turn around and walk away. In our No. 1 spot today, we have the mysterious forest figures. This one comes from a user who posted it on both Reddit and YouTube. In the post, they explain that it is a compilation of clips they've collected over time, and each one gets progressively more scary. One of the earliest clips is from a trail camera that was set up to monitor wildlife. However, instead of capturing deer or rabbits, it got a cloaked figure walking through the forest. The figure walks straight toward the camera, but then turns and walks in the opposite direction. There's another clip taken from a dash cam that shows a hooded figure walking across the road. But the creepiest part is that this was during the middle of the day. Another clip from a trail camera shows a hooded figure walking along the same trail where another hiker had previously encountered something similar. And the final clip is from a home security camera, and it shows a hooded figure standing on the porch. Whoever it is seems to be waiting for someone. The original poster says they have more footage just like this. And although some people have suggested that it could be someone messing around, seeing as they've been caught on camera multiple times, it makes me think that there's definitely something going on here. Whatever it is, it doesn't seem to be human. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thank you so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.